Hello and welcome to this short demo on how to get started with the GDI. The key to getting started with the GDI is to create an investigation, and this is basically a container or placeholder for all the data that you want to look at and all your preferences. So it basically lets you organize the data into different groups, select different data and filter the data, and it also records all your display settings and preferences like colors and symbols, axis scales, and other preferences. When you create an investigation, you can use it to plot many different times, so you only have to go through this process once, and you can then plot in many different ways just by choosing the same investigation. So it's really easy to get started. You simply have to just choose Insert and then choose this new blueback investigation, and when you do so it will pop up a box you need to fill in. So here we see an example of a completed investigation. It consists of a number of different data sets here in the middle, and these are added when you choose the Add Data here. And you can choose data sets from any of the data types you see here on the left hand side. This covers most of the Petrel objects, and in addition we have this table data, which lets you bring in data from Excel or some other kind of spreadsheet. So once you add your different data series, it's then necessary to define the dimensions that you want to select for each of your data sets. And your dimensions are essentially just your axes on your plots or your properties that you're going to compare in the different plots. You also have control over the axis settings, which can be a useful way to force the default display for each plot. So you have, for example, the min and max of your axis settings and things like intervals and grid line defaults, etc. Finally, for each object you have some options for data filtering, so you can constrain it between some geological objects like tops or surfaces. Of course, for models or seismic you have different ways of filtering. So that just makes it easy to make a nice little neat investigation, which saves you time when you go and create your plots. So let's basically just get started and investigate. So from Petrel, the first thing to do is just select Insert and then say New Blueback Investigation. And this pops up my investigation settings here. From the Create Dataset icon on the left hand side, I can just click that, and I'm going to choose this time just a folder of wells, like so. And I'm going to choose, for example, a couple of these A wells, like so, and it's important to note I can give it a nice name here just to distinguish that particular series. And then I'm going to choose my dimensions, which again are my axes that I'm going to plot. So here I can choose porosity and maybe permeability, like so. And now I want to add another series to this investigation so I can compare the two. So I can do that by either adding another dataset, or I could copy this one here and then choose maybe a different set of wells, like so, and it'll automatically fill in the dimensions. And I'm going to add in a third, again just a third series just for comparison. I'm going to add in a single well, like so. Then if I want to, I can filter between the top and base if I want to constrain the points by that particular filter, but in this case I'm just going to leave it blank. Then we can just press OK, and it creates a investigation which I can find on my Petrel input tree. And just to show you a little bit how that works, if I just right click and say show in the various windows, I can say show in histogram, show in crossplot, and show in matrix window. And this is just to give you the idea that we can basically reuse the same investigation and we get all the same data available in each of these plots here. So I've saved a lot of time creating these different plots here. To show you a little bit more about how GDI is working, I want to focus on this matrix plot here, which is a plot of the different dimensions. So right now I only have two, but I want to show you that we can add more. So here in my back in my investigation, I can click on this Add Dimension button here, and then I can add, say for example, gamma ray in addition, and just press apply, and that then becomes available in my investigation here, so I can toggle on my gamma and display the extra axis in the matrix plot here, or similarly if I'm in a cross plot window, I then have access to all my dimensions by right clicking on the axis here, so I can change which of the axis I'm displaying here on the X and Y, for example gamma. The other thing we have control of in the investigation is rules for the axis settings and other options. So for example, if I was to color by something like permeability and show the color scale, you can see that it's picked up a default color scale from Petrel. But if I wanted to change any of that, I can click on the table header here, or column header, and this opens up the settings for a particular axis. So here I have, first of all, a template, which is essentially the color scale that GDI will use, which I can override. I can also change the label if I want to display some additional text there. Units here will be added by default. And I can also override the scale of the axis. So this means it will default to this scale every time you display it. For permeability, we can also see that it's logarithmic by default, which we can of course override if we want to. So if I just press OK here and switch my axis, you can see now I've got a different label here for my permeability. And again, if I go back to my matrix, again you can see the label and the settings are carried through the whole time. Finally, the one last thing to show is that the investigation can also store a lot of default settings for the display of your data. So here I can choose maybe different symbols for the data or different sizes, like so. And these are again saved in the investigation and carried through to the different windows here. Switch back to dataset, we can see the colors. So hopefully that's given you a good idea of how to create an investigation and give you an understanding of why it's a good way of doing it. You can save time by using many different plots, and hopefully you can also see some of the more advanced options which can save you time when working with your investigations. So thanks for listening. As always, if you have any questions, please let us know, and good luck with your investigation.